Alrighty, guys, we are once again coming fresh off a perfect 6-0 day in my personal plays on my website yesterday. And the only way you could have accessed all 6 of those winners is to be a board member on that site. Board members get access to every single personal play, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. The math works out to be just $1.66 a day. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my college basketball free pick video here today for Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to your week. Of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been doing sports picks for free on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. But once again, guys, I went a perfect 6-0 on my 6 premium plays on that site yesterday. And the only way you could have accessed all 6 of those winners would be if you joined my all-inclusive full-access board member package on that site. I currently have over 525 members who are signed up and active on that site right now. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at Rutgers at Indiana, 6:30 p.m. East. Indiana's -4, totals 135.5. Now, the Hoosiers have been insanely tough to beat at home this year. They're 12-1 at Assembly Hall, and they've been shooting lights out there. The Hoosiers are making nearly 53% of their field goals in their own building. They're also in the top 10 in home offensive field goal percentage. These guys are currently drilling 41% of their three-pointers in front of their own fans. Jalen Hood-Schifino, he knocks down 41% of his shots from beyond the arc. He's also second on the team in scoring. Meanwhile, teammate Trace Jackson-Davis, he averages a team-high 19 points a night, along with 11 boards. He's actually 7th in college basketball in that rebounding category. Now, Indiana's facing a Rutgers team who lost 4 out of their last 6 on the road. And they let their opponents make 40% of their three-pointers against them in those road games. And when it comes to offensive production, the Scarlet Knights averaged just 66 points per contest in those road games as well. Now, injury-wise, the Scarlet Knights are relatively healthy at the moment. No significant scratches to report to you, at least as of right now. Meanwhile, for Indy on the other side, Geronimo and Duncombe are questionable. Now, total-wise, the Hoosiers went 4-3 to the under in their last 7. Meanwhile, Rutgers saw 4 out of their last 7 stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Indiana -4, under 135.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Marquette taking on UConn, 6:30 p.m. East. UConn's -4.5, totals 147 and a hook. But despite being favored at home, UConn failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. And speaking of covering the point spread, the Huskies are just 4-9 against the spread against Big East opponents. They're facing a Marquette squad on the other side who's actually 10-3 against the number in conference play, doing a great job covering against the Big East. And out of the Golden Eagles' last 10 ball games, they got the W 9 times. David Joplin knocks down 40% of his three-pointers. He's also averaging double-digit points a game. Meanwhile, Cam Jones, he's scoring over 15.5 points per contest. And aside from being in the top 5 in road scoring, Marquette's the 3rd best field goal shooting team in the country. Now, injury-wise, Sean Jones is questionable for the Golden Eagles. When it comes to the total, 5 out of Marquette's last 9 did get over the line. Meanwhile, UConn's 10-3 to the over in the XL Center. I'm going to lean toward Marquette +4.5, keeping this one close, over 147.5. Next game, North Carolina, Wake Forest, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. UNC's -1, totals 154. Now, I do think the Tar Heels should get the job done here on the road. They're averaging nearly 80 points a game, and they're also a top 25 offensive rebounding team. Armando Bacot, he leads the charge with over 11 rebounds a game. He's actually 5th in the country in that category. Now, Bacot's currently scoring a team-high 17.5 points a game as well. Meanwhile, Caleb Love and R.J. Davis, They're dropping over 15 points a game respectively. They're facing a Wake Forest team who dropped 4 out of their last 5. And they've had consistent problems with the Tar Heels in recent meetings. Out of the Deacs' last 10 games against UNC, they got the W only twice. When it comes to defensive play, the Deacs are one of the worst defensive rebounding teams at home in the ACC. Now, total-wise, Wake Forest went 9-1 to the over in their last 10. They're also 75% to the over on their own court. I'm going to lean toward North Carolina -1 over 154. Next matchup, it is going to be Auburn taking on Texas A&M, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Texas A&M's -2.5, totals 140 and a hook. And speaking of the total in this one, the Aggies have seen a good amount of unders in their own arena. The Aggies are 75% to the under in Reed Arena this year. And out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings, the under cashed in 60% of those ball games. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Now, Auburn on the other side, they saw unders recently against the likes of Tennessee, LSU, and Arkansas. When it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game is being featured as one of my premium selections on my website at patreon.com/ProcPage. And the only way you can access every one of my personal premium selections is to join our full access, all-inclusive board member package on that site. Board members get access to every single personal play, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. The math actually works out to be just $1.66 a day. But as far as making a free pick goes, I'm going to lean toward the under 140.5 in that matchup. Next ball game, little Big Ten action. I'm talking about Maryland squaring off against Michigan State, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Michigan State's -3, totals 131. Now, Sparty's had a tough time getting the W recently. They lost 5 out of their last 7. And they're actually one of the lower scoring teams in the Big Ten. Michigan State's averaging only 68 points per contest this year. They're also facing a Maryland team who plays some really tough defense themselves. The Terps allow just 62 points a game. And they're in the top 15 in the country in guarding the three-pointer on the road. The Terps are actually limiting their competition to just 27% shooting from three land in that category. Dante Scott, he has 22 blocks and 16 steals. He's also second on the team in points. When it comes to scoring, speaking of scoring, Jameer Young, he averages 16 points a game himself. Now, when it comes to the number, the Terps saw every one of their road games this season stay under the line. Meanwhile, Michigan State's 73% to the under at the Breslin Center. I'm going to lean toward Maryland +3, under 131. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be NC State taking on Virginia, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Virginia's -7 at home, totals 133. And as good as the Cavaliers are defensively, this is a pretty substantive number, and Virginia really doesn't cover all that well. They failed to cover in 7 out of their last 11 at home. And they're arguably the worst offensive rebounding team at home in the ACC. They're facing an NC State team who plays some pretty tough defense on the road themselves. These guys are limiting their competition to a stifling 25% shooting from three land on the road. That actually puts them in the top 3 in the country in that particular category. When it comes to offensive production, the Wolfpack scoring 80 points a game. Casey Morsell, he's knocking down 43% of his three-pointers. He's also scoring a dozen points a night. Meanwhile, Terquavion Smith, he averages a team-high 18.5 points a game himself. Now, total-wise, 5 out of NC State's last 7 did get over the number. Meanwhile, Virginia went 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward NC State +7 over 133. Of that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It is going to be Arkansas taking on Kentucky, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Kentucky Wildcats are -5, totals 139.5. Now, guys, both teams do have some really positive aspects of their game, so I'm going to be very complimentary to both teams. Now, to start, the Wildcats got the W in 6 out of their last 7. and they failed to cover only once during that span. Now, these guys have also been tough to beat in the Rupp Arena. They're allowing just 63 points a game in front of their own fans, and they're a top 25 defensive rebounding team. Of course, most of those boards are thanks to Oscar Tshiebwe. The forward leads the nation with over 13.5 rebounds per contest. Now, Tshiebwe is also the team's leading scorer with over 15.5 points per game. Meanwhile, Antonio Reeves and Kason Wallace, they're both drilling over 41% of their three-pointers, respectively. Now, on the other side of things, Arkansas has their fair share of guys who can get to the basket themselves. Ricky Council, he scores 17 points a game, and he's also making 46% of his field goals. Meanwhile, Anthony Black, he's averaging 12.5 points a game. Now, when it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Razorbacks are one of the best offensive rebounding teams on the road in the SEC. When it comes to the total in this one, Arkansas saw overs against the likes of Texas A&M, Missouri, and Vandy. Meanwhile, Kentucky is 10-4 to the over in the Rupp Arena. So with that in mind, I am going to lean toward the over 139.5 in that game. And when it comes to selecting a winner, this is another one of those games that's being featured as a personal play on my website. And once again, guys, the best way to access that is to join my full access, all-inclusive board member package on that site. But once again, as far as a free pick is concerned, I'm going to lean toward the over 139.5 in that game. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. I like Indiana -4, under 135.5. Marquette +4.5, over 147 and a hook. UNC -1, over 154. Pitt Panthers -15, under 141. Cincinnati +2, under 153.5. Chicago State -4, under 135. Akron -2, over 147. Bowling Green +15, over 148. Ball State let's try that again. Ball State -8, over 138. Buffalo -9, over 161. Miami, Ohio -2, over 148.5. UNC Greensboro -10, over 127. I like the under 140.5 in the Auburn Texas A&M game. Give me the under 139 in the Ole Miss Georgia game. VCU -3, under 131. Ohio Bobcats -5, over 151. Drake -3, over 141. St. John's +1, over 144. I like the over 149 in the TCU-KST game. Air Force -1, under 136. Maryland +3, under 131. NC State +7, over 133. St. Louis -10, over 142. Missouri -15.5, over 146 and a hook. Give me the over 139.5 in the Arkansas-Kentucky game. San Jose State +4, under 126. With my next and final free pick, give me the over 150 in the Nevada-New Mexico game. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, guys, if you do end up getting a package here today on patreon.com/ProgPage, you're going to get access to that content for the next 30 days. And, of course, as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks, go ahead and grab that board member package. It's an all-inclusive package. You get access to absolutely everything. The math works out to be just $1.66 a day. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube or TikTok. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/ProgPage.